Welcome to Why Should I Invest? Developed by the International Collegiate Angels Network, or ICAN. At ICAN, we believe that campus-born ventures are today's most underappreciated asset class. Each podcast will spotlight a campus-born founder and the venture they're building. I'm going to ask the tough questions that investors would want to ask. So welcome to another episode of Why Should I Invest? I'm Dr. Tom Duening. Today I'm delighted to be welcoming from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Dr. Mario Huesca, the founder of ViroCarb. ViroCarb is developing a novel single-therapeutic approach to treat and prevent viral respiratory infections, a very important technology given the COVID pandemic and other things that we've experienced recently. Dr. Huesca, welcome to the show. Please give us a little background on yourself and your company.
Thank you very much for the invitation and the opportunity to introduce our venture. My name is Mario Huesca, co-founder of ViroCarb. We are a biotech company developing a new class of drugs to combat viral infections, as you mentioned. And I would like to start by sharing some background about myself and why I co-founded ViroCarb. I emigrated from Mexico to Canada with wife and two young children, pursue my PhD at the University of Toronto, which is a leading Canadian university. This period was challenging for both me and my family, and I was able to complete the studies under the guidance of Dr. Clifford Lingwood, which was professor at that time at the University of Toronto. He played a really important role in my academic journey. And after completing my PhD, I worked as a postdoctoral fellow at an institution here also in Toronto. It's called Sunnybrook Research Center, before transitioning to the biotech industry. There, I focus on drug discovery and development mainly, and I led several programs that resulted in the filing of multiple patents. However, I lost my position when the company was acquired. This experience was particularly challenging, as finding new jobs opportunity at a certain age is tough. However, also allow me to independently explore an area that is very important to me, especially considering the impact of infectious diseases have in my home country in Mexico. So I approached my PhD supervisor again, Dr. Lingwood, with the idea of creating ViroCarb to tackle a significant health challenge which we both recognize, which are viral infections. These motivations led me to co-found with him ViroCarb, and this decision was further validated later by the emergence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our company remains affiliated to the University of Toronto. I think that we have established a collaboration that serves as an excellent bridge between outstanding scientific research at the University of Toronto and our industrial and business experience.
Well said. I appreciate that background. And you've got a very novel technology that you're building here, and I'd like to learn a little bit more about it. It's primarily for viral respiratory infections, so it clearly addresses COVID and SARS and RSV and influenza and other things. Tell us where you are in the product development cycle.
Yeah, first I would like to clarify that even though we are focusing right now on respiratory infections, which is obviously a present challenge, our technology can be applied to a multiple different viral infections, which, by the way, in many of them, there are not effective therapies. This project started more than 12 years ago, in collaboration with University of Toronto and two other universities and ourselves. And we developed, it is actually a platform of small molecule compounds that are leading to the development of drugs against different viruses.
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned, we are focusing on viral respiratory infections. So the first target, of course, was SARS-CoV-2, which is the cause of COVID-19.
Right.
And then, due to the mechanism of action that I would like to explain later on, this new approach targets multiple viruses.
Mm-hmm.
The reason is that instead of targeting individual viruses, which is the approach that currently is followed to develop antivirals, what we do is we exploit the dependency of the viruses from the host. So viruses use different mechanisms from the cell in order to replicate. So what we are doing is we are disrupting the RNA processing of the virus that is modulated by factors that are in the cell, are cellular factors. And this, interestingly enough, these factors or mechanisms are used by multiple viruses, and they are not even related to each other. So we have the option of targeting many viruses. So the first target was COVID-19. Then we tested all these tests are initially done in human cells, in
Mm-hmm.
human cell lines. We
Mm-hmm.
infected with different viruses. We have infected those cell lines with SARS-CoV-2 influenza, which is
Mm-hmm.
important, uh, and also adenovirus, and even infection that is not related at all with this, which is HIV and AIDS. So our compounds show high potency against all these viruses. So the process we engage is in optimization of this platform to target all these viruses. So we have a lead candidate right now, which is at preclinical stage, meaning that we are ready to start doing some for the FDA for applying for clinical trial. For example, at the FDA, you need to engage in some studies that are called IND enabling
Mm-hmm.
studies, which are well inspected by the government and
Mm-hmm.
allow you to do clinical trials in humans. So we are before that. We are
Right.
right now doing studies to be able to engage in these IND enabling studies.
Mm-hmm. And you've done some work in animals. Um, you've done some animal models as well as using some cells from human organs. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we show there are models, for example, for COVID-19 in
Uh huh.
hamsters, which you inoculate the hamsters and produce a similar disease as
Uh huh.
humans. We treat it with our compound and we reduce significantly the number of viruses in the
Yeah.
lungs after
Yeah.
2, 3 days of treatment. And as you mentioned, also, even probably more relevant is the use of organoids,
Uh
which
huh.
are really human tissues that we can actually culture in the lab,
Okay.
infect them, and also we produce complete inhibition of the virus in those experiments.
Yeah. And my notes say here that you have been putting together a what they call an IND, investigational new drug meeting package for the FDA, right? So
Yeah.
where are we in that process?
Is the package is ready, but I should mention a little bit about the sort of tracking we are having for we need to investigate the interest of pharmaceutical companies
Yes.
and venture capital companies because these are actually our clients. The way that we expect to commercialize this is
Yes.
to develop clinically the drug, but at some point we need to co-develop or to have a partnership with a company.
Yes.
So we have been presenting. There is a lot of interest. We were in a scan presentations to several big pharma.
Gotcha.
One of them that showed interest was Merck. We did this in collaboration with an institution based here in Quebec,
Yep.
which told us to not to say publicly which company. I don't know how important it is, but let's say that is interest from some potential big company, collaborative big company. Uh, and the feedback from them and also from some VCs that are actually showing interest is because this is a novel drug. We need to what is called the risk before engaging in clinical trials. So they want us to test this drug in more a sort of a related type of tissue to really explore the possibility of
Okay.
side effects in clinical
Okay.
trials. And so this is the reason we are engaged in this fundraising, complete these
I
studies.
see. So you're still doing some laboratory research.
Yes,
That's correct. Okay. Yeah, and I do see that you mentioned that your company, ViroCarb, is going to be a RIBCO type company, basically a royalty-based income, and
yes,
that you'll be working with a what they call a FIBCO, I guess, or fully integrated biopharmaceutical companies. And so you've been in
yes.
discussions with some of those big companies. Are they doing anything with respect to providing some funds to help you get some of this work done?
Not yet. Usually, our experience is that they want you to be at least in early phase
I
one
see.
clinical trials for
Okay.
them to engage.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And similarly with VCs, until we get into IND-enabling studies, we don't expect to get the funding required.
Okay. And so, how have you been funding this research so far?
Yeah, uh, uh, we were part of several accelerators. One is called
Okay.
CDL. CDL. It is a quite competitive program which provide us advice, and we've completed this. We graduated in 2021, ViroCarb, and we got $1 million funding from all the seven mentors. They got quite interested in that. So that was from 2021. Government of Canada was also interested, so they has provided about $350,000
Okay.
funding for salaries and R&D activities. And also we were awarded to an innovation award at the University of Toronto for $100,000. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, so these early investors, are they still part of your cap table?
No, the way that deal was established was it is a loan that is could
I
be
see.
so changed to shares. So they are still not shareholders.
Convertible. Okay.
Convertible, yeah.
Yeah.
They are interested in co-investing, by the way.
Yep.
So what we are trying is to raise $1.2 million with probably the co-investing of our early investors and other interested
I
investors.
see. I see. Very interesting. Well, I really admire what you're doing. I think it's tremendous work. It sounds like kind of a revolutionary product in the sense that it's one drug against multiple viruses.
Exactly. Yeah. That is, we believe that this can change the way that viral treatments are treated.
And and
Viral
and
infections are treated. Yes.
yes, and I know that one of the challenges that they have now with the antiviral products that are on the marketplace is that the viruses are mutating and they develop resistance.
Exactly. Exactly. That is one of the main limitations of the current strategy. Yes. Yes, drugs are designed to particular components or functions from the virus.
Right.
And even after they do the clinical trials, after a few months that is approved, the viral population is changed already. So efficacy is lower even than is
Yeah.
shown in clinical trials, and eventually there is drug resistance. That is the main challenge. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm going to ask you a tough question, and
Yes.
and you may not have a really exact answer, but let's just say investors get involved with your company over the next 6 months and they invest the $1.2 million, how long do you think it'll be until your product is going to actually be in clinical applications?
Yeah, we have a well-established plan that I would be happy to share with everyone, which and is a timeline of our studies. These studies that we are doing next are brief. It takes about 6 months
Mm-hmm.
to 8 months, and also we will use these funds also to engage again with FDA to approve the
Right.
IND enabling studies. We have a well-established timeline, which is we are planning to engage in these studies I was talking about, and this will be completed in between 6 to 8 months. After that, we will be allowed to engage in IND enabling studies, which is about 1 year. So the following year, meaning 2 years, we could be starting phase one clinical
Sure.
trials.
Sure. Okay. And then the clinical trials, how long is that going to take?
The advantage of these studies are short. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
other diseases like
Okay.
cancer. They can be done in 8 months, each clinical trials, and we have quite interesting planning. We have advice from, of course, from experts, clinical
Yes.
experts, and
Yes.
regulatory experts. And there is a way that you actually can get proof of principle of efficacy even in phase one. You get the dose that is the dose required to and that is not toxic, and you just take a few patients. In this case, we are thinking of 2 or 3 different patients with flu, adenovirus, and COVID-19, and just do a testing just to prove that the efficacy of the drug. So this would be even a proof of principle that could be enough for a big
Yeah.
company to get on board. Yes.
Interesting. Okay, that's not that long. I mean, capital needs to be patient over the next 3 to 4 years, it sounds, to get to the end of the clinical trials. And okay,
Yes.
wonderful. And you are at ViroCarb.com. That's the website. It's got a lot of good information on your website. I've been there.
Yes.
We only have a few more minutes. Could you please tell me a little bit more about your team that is working on this business with you?
Yes, for sure. We have a CEO, which was we hired him from our first investors. They suggested him to get on board. He's well experienced in business in biotech. We have the co-founder, Dr. Clifford Linwood, which is my mentor, as I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And the main investigator is Dr. Alan Cochrane, which is a leading professor in this field of viral processing
Right.
in cells.
Right. Interesting. You
And
got a
of course,
great team there. So I wrap up each show with the simple question: why should I invest?
well, I should mention that you get a really good intro on the challenges we have having excellent, outstanding technologies that we need to really get out and put it in the market. We really need help in order to put this technology that will change actually lives in the future.
Okay, great. And thank you very much for speaking with us today, Dr. Mario Huesca from ViroCarb Incorporated, ViroCarb.com in Toronto, Ontario. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much for your time.
For more information about how you can get involved in the ICAN mission, please contact me directly via email at tomdenning@icanhub.net.